Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you, you thirsty bunch of beer drinkers, whenever and wherever you're tuning in from. Thanks for pressing play and supporting a Canadian podcast. I'm Troy Burtch with Great Lakes, Ontario's local brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery based in Etobicoke who brings you this here Between Two Fermenters, the podcast where craft beer and conversation collide, straight from the tanks to your ears. There was recently a massive shakeup in the Ontario beer scene, one that affected and continues to affect breweries of all shapes and sizes. Yes, we got our tax relief, but then we got this news. Accelerate 360, better known in the industry as TNG or Prologix, announced that they would be ceasing all operations related to the distribution of beer. The final delivery date, September 19th. Massive news. TNG was the distributor of record for a lot of breweries, getting product out to market throughout the province. From bigger breweries to the smallest of the small, TNG provided breweries with the option to increase sales by getting their beer to regions that the brewers previously could not do. GLB was one of those breweries. Like all the others, we had to seek out a new partner. The beer store was an option. It's what they've done for 100 years. We could move back in-house to operate our own deliveries, or we could focus on our brewing the best beer we could and go with someone like FIL Delivery Inc., a distribution company that was created in 2020 and has quickly scaled up to be one of the largest in Ontario. And after some good conversations and long meetings, that's what we did. So today on the show, we're going to be introducing you to Jason Stein, the founder and president of FIL Delivery, an extremely busy man right now, navigating many new brewery partnerships and relationships, updating and upgrading his fleet of trucks and personnel to handle the additional loads. Jason, though, isn't a one-trick pony, and Phil wasn't the first business in beer that he founded. Nope, Jason is also well known as the co-founder of Toronto's Burdock Brewery. This is a packed show. We're going to be discussing how FIL Delivery was created, how it ties into being turned down by another logistics company, you know the old saying, you turn lemons into lemonade, and how Burdock came to be, why he and his business partner, Matt Park, decided to go in on Toronto's Kensington market neighbourhood, adding in a production facility there alongside the recent opening of Burdock Tavern. So, grab a fresh one, perhaps a fighting weight session IPA like me, crack it open, and settle in for this conversation with Jason Stein, founder of FIL Delivery and co-founder of Burdock Brewery. Hang tight. We'll be right back.
It's Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery. We believe in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. It's Great Lakes Brewery. Order online for free local home delivery. In the GTA, good times and amazing beer. That's GLB.
Hello, Jason. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Troy. Happy to be here.
To Between Two Fermenters. Let's start this episode by smelling the roses and blowing out the candles. So let's do that together. There. Much better. It's been an extremely busy time for you, eh?
I think for both of us, actually.
You were just mentioning today that FIL Delivery is on pace to do 2,500 deliveries today.
We sure are.
That is insane.
It is insane.
You're a man that's in need of a beer, so there's a fighting weight session IPA right there for you. 3.6%, 100 calories per can. It is pretty much like Octo Light. There you go. So here's how I see our conversation shaping up today. I want to start with FIL Delivery. That's the who, the what, the where, the when, the why, and the how, touching on everything about the company before diving into Burdock Brewery and getting that whole story. Does that sound good to you?
Sounds good to me.
How's that fighting weight, by the way?
Really nice.
Yeah?
Yeah, it tastes fresh.
It's I think it was canned. I don't know. We put our can date on here. It was September 3rd, so and we're recording this on September 11th, so very fresh, and that's what to expect when you have a Great Lakes beer. FIL Delivery, tell me everything about this. It's a timely time to talk about it, because as I mentioned off the top of the show, the largest distributor of Ontario craft beer is ceasing its beer operations as of September 19th. So I want to learn everything about the company that you started in 2020. So can you tell me about the startup of FIL? What happened? Were you having distribution issues with Burdock that led to this? Or so what happened?
Yeah, so we were part of that group of breweries that got booted out of Cold House
Okay.
back in 2018. And we tried to get listed with TNG at that time, but they wouldn't take us. And so
Was that based on volume or?
based on volume.
Okay.
Yeah, we were pretty small at that time. And we went around looking for alternatives, couldn't find anything. And so I actually just leased 2 vans and started doing our own distribution. At this point, we realized it was completely unsustainable for us to do that. So we started going down the road of starting our own business and trying to share some of the costs, at which point we were kind of in the middle of that process when the pandemic happened. And so we changed gears. I took a bunch of my laid off staff from Burdock, put them in vans, got them on the road, and within a few weeks had about 20 wineries and wine agents that we were delivering for, and we were like, oh, okay, now we have a delivery company.
And that's how it started.
That's how it started.
So you did take lemons and turn them into lemonade. So Cold House, you're with Cold House, and Cold House was another logistics company that delivered beer for a long time in the province. And there was a time where they were starting to slow down, only focus on a certain handful of breweries. And so that's when you were.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we did make the cut.
And then TNG, just based on volume, they were same thing, that they were going with a certain size. And so you put your staff in from Burdock, which we're going to talk about Burdock in a bit, but I want to focus a lot on FIL right now. So you started with 2 trucks, which is a nice romantic story. And what are you packing now?
Well, right now we're packing 36.
36 trucks.
Yeah, plus contractors, and probably going to add another. You have 6 more coming this year, and then more next year. Yeah.
And so in all of our discussions, this project is not a Burdock project. It came about because Burdock couldn't get a distribution partner.
Yeah, there's no crossover between the 2 companies. Yeah.
And so I think sometimes, and I wanted to get that kind of on the air right off the bat, because sometimes, you hear those that, going with FIL is you're just working with Burdock Brewery. But you've been pretty adamant that in our discussions that it's 2 separate businesses.
Yeah, completely 2 separate businesses. I'm the only person who has to log in to both companies. There's nobody else. Can't log into either system. Yeah.
So I want to go back to 2020 when you did those first deliveries. So what did it look like, those 2 vans? Where were you delivering to? Were you getting out to all of the province with two vans, or were you just focused on, the city core?
We were just, Toronto brewery? Just focused on what we could do from the brewery. So just downtown Toronto and the occasional run to a suburb somewhere, but it really limited our reach.
And then you started to scale up with COVID, I assume. You said the wineries came on. And so how did you go about getting wineries to come into the fold?
We just had more winery connections at the time. Like Burdock was always like a bit of a wine beer brewery. And so we just knew more people in the wine scene, and that's how it started. There wasn't really any kind of magic to it.
Do you recall who your first brewery partner was? I'm putting you on the spot here to think of it, but
I don't want to offend anybody by forgetting.
Yeah, well, that's all right. But so let's talk about the evolution of FIL then. So 2020, you got your own beers out there. Then the wines started coming. Then you got some additional breweries. You were doing home delivery, a lot of home delivery.
A lot of home delivery at that time, for sure.
And then, so after COVID, talk to me about FIL. What did it look like, and how was it evolving, and how was it growing so fast? Why were you a desired distribution company for breweries to move to?
I wish I could take more credit, but there just wasn't a lot of other options. So that's really why we grew so fast. Is we were just one of the few options, and our service quality wasn't even amazing, and we're still learning and figuring stuff out as we go. But we stumbled on a very important and painful niche in the industry, and that's sort of how we grew so fast.
And are you having fun?
most of the time.
Yeah. So walk me through the business. What is FIL from start to finish? Yeah. So I've heard we're a logistics company we're a tech company that happens to deliver beer. So what is FIL Delivery Inc?
Well, it's a delivery company that delivers for craft beverage makers. Like that's really what it is right now. That's what it was designed to be. That was the purpose of the business. We never intended for it to get so big. Yeah. Like that was really a big surprise. You know, we got a warehouse in Mississauga. Our first one was like 10,000 square feet. And we thought, wow, this is enormous. Mm-hmm. You know, we're going to have this for years. It was full in 4 months. Yeah. And we were like, shit. And we were suffering because it was too full and we had no space for everything. So we, you know, also realized really quickly that tech, that's where your tech comment comes in. Tech was super important. And we invested a lot early in getting scalable technology. And so that's where people say, oh yeah, there's such a tech company. Well, we were like, oh shit, this is really the thing that we need to do to figure this out.
It's a good selling feature for companies like Great Lakes when we look at the portal and we see you can live track where that order going to that bar or restaurant or to that LCBO is actually where that driver actually is. And so that's a cool selling feature. But how has technology helped shape FIL throughout the years?
Well, I'd say for most of FIL's history, we've just been breaking all the technology that we use because we grow so fast. Mm-hmm. And we've switched platforms many times, but we've now learned, okay, this is how big we probably need to get to. And this is the kind of software we need. This most recent spurt of growth with TNG closing, I've joked a lot with my team that it's kind of like that scene in Indiana Jones where like the temple door is closing and he like reaches in and grabs his hat. It's kind of like that. Like we just switched platforms at exactly the right time. Yeah. And you know, even like the portal stuff, like the portal literally 3 weeks ago was struggling to keep up with the amount of volume going through it. And we just published last week an update that the team has been working super hard on that actually can handle the volume. So it's like, again, another Indiana Jones hat
so
under the door.
Because you guys have a for lack of a better term, tell me, coders or they write code for the site.
Yeah, we have a full-time team of developers.
Developers, that's the term I was looking for, not coders. Yeah, they're not hackers.
Yeah, you've got 4 guys right now, or 5, including the head of development.
Okay.
And they're just pumping out stuff all day.
So now that you're onboarding a wave of new breweries because of the TNG's exit, what's been the biggest operational challenge in scaling so quickly? And even maybe just not even for this current round of onboarding, but maybe go back a couple of years when you were going from 2 vans to whatever, let's say 15 vans and doing thousands of deliveries. What's been the biggest operational challenge in scaling?
The biggest challenge at every step is aligning the people management and the technology growth. Mm-hmm. Those 2 things are really the hardest things. Yeah. Those are the challenges that we face as we try to scale this kind of thing. So when you like the type of team and processes that you need for a logistics organization that has 10 vehicles versus and doing, 200 to 300 deliveries a day is super different from what you need to do 2,500.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Across the whole province, and just managing the change in terms of the people and the systems and how the people and the systems work together. That's the hardest challenge.
Yeah. I don't know how you do it. Logistics has always been one of my least favorite things about this industry. So as I said off the top, we used to have our own in-house delivery system. And there was always so much challenge with that trucks would break down or they wouldn't pick up kegs just like, everyone else. And it got to the point where I was like, is it really worth it for us to worry about this on the side while we have all these other stuff going on? So having a third-party distributor that gets that too, I think it's great that you have the tie into Burdock because then you know what breweries are actually going through and dealing with when it comes to working with a bar or restaurant owner. So I thought you might have mentioned like licensee issues, but the scaling with a personnel to technology sounds like one that you're always going to have struggles with. It sounds like,
Yeah.
as you continuously grow.
Yeah.
So with this change with TNG, how many new breweries are coming on board? You don't have to name who they are, but and how many do you have before, and how many are you having after?
We're probably doubling the number of breweries that we have. So
a good amount.
Yeah, a good amount, and we're going slowly, and I get that that's hard for a lot of breweries, and but that's really just to make sure we don't take on too much and overcommit.
Yeah,
and then everyone suffers if that happens.
And where's Phil? What's the delivery range?
All of Ontario.
All of Ontario. So you're still allowing breweries that can't get their product out by themselves to, like, Kenora or to Ottawa and regions all throughout Ontario. You guys are making sure that beer gets there.
100%.
And doing it on like a weekly schedule too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's been the most fun thing you've experienced while creating and building up a distribution company?
I'd say, again, people and technology.
Yeah.
It's like it's so rewarding to see the team like do amazing things. And there's kind of this like, magic to like when the logistics starts to work. And that's just where like, I didn't think that I liked logistics either before, but you kind of fall in love with the problem, and you're like, how do you do this? Like, how do you get 2,500 deliveries out there, like picked, sorted, loaded, delivered, all the documents sent back to the brewers in a timely fashion, everyone charged the right amount of money for everything that gets done. It's really hard. And like seeing the team do that is so fun.
That doesn't sound fun to me, but to each their own, What were you doing before Burdock, but what were you doing before Phil too?
I mean, before Phil, I was full-time on Burdock.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Let's go back before Burdock. What were you doing before? How'd you get into beer? How'd you land in beer?
Before Burdock, I was actually trying to get a job in the music business. Yeah. And had just done a master's degree in music business. And I was in the UK at the time, and my best friend Matt came over to visit me and was like, "You want to start a brewery?" I was like, "No."
So he sucked you in.
Yeah, I was like, I got this whole thing going on. I'm like, this is so fun, and but I said yes. Yeah. And came over here, and I never looked back.
So you have no work experience in your life other than beer and logistics now. I'm just joking.
Well, I feel like I've never had a real job. Like, I mean, I've had some work experience, but never like what I got to experience at Burdock. Yeah. Yeah.
So we're almost there. But looking ahead, how do you see Phil evolving? Do you want it to remain Ontario focused, or do you, maybe I'm way too far in the future, province or across the country, or you just want to focus on the Ontario market?
There's so much to do here right now, and again, like so much of success is just staying laser focused, and that's what we're doing right now.
So one day at a time. Yeah.
One day at a time. Yeah.
And walk me through what Phil looks like. I know the trucks are, white with just a little logo, but what should customers expect to see and experience when a Phil truck shows up?
I mean, you should see a driver with a Phil uniform. You should see your product all nicely organized. Friendly experience at the customer account. Ideally, that driver has all the information they need on an app on their phone, so they can deliver that order to the back door of the restaurant and put in the right code to pick up the empty kegs. That should all be right there. I don't know. Is that a good answer?
Yeah, that's a great answer. Okay. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. I'm trying to learn more about Phil and your business. So, okay, let's skip over to Burdock Brewery now, because I'll be the first to admit, and I'm interested in this too. I don't really know much about Burdock outside of the beer. you were established as a business in 2013, but you didn't open until 2015, correct?
That's right.
And so what was taking place during those 2 years?
So Matt and I took over a dilapidated Portuguese banquet hall at the corner of Bloor and Dufferin, just a block west. And I'll spare you the gory details about what that renovation was like, but
I could imagine
it was gnarly.
Yeah.
and we did a lot of it ourselves, and figured it out as we went.
Did you guys have to dig down to get the tanks?
Not at
Burdock.
No, not in Kensington. Yes, but in Bloor Street, it was wasn't a huge renovation. It was just
gross.
Okay.
Yeah. And so during those 2 years, that's what was happening. You guys were just getting the space up and running.
Yeah.
Were you brewing anywhere else between that time?
We weren't. No, I mean Matt was. No, we weren't.
No, he was just like home brewing and stuff. And
yeah. We were then staying in the community, but
okay.
But,
so Matt came over to the UK, brought you back, and you guys started up Burdock. You were taking the 2 years to get this space up and running. But so that's the condensed startup story. Tell me the startup story. What was it like in those days to start a brewery from scratch?
Well, it was so we really wanted to start like more of an on-premise brewery where we really just served our restaurant and the music hall, and we didn't really have ambitions to like sell to licensees, for example. Like that kind of happened by accident. People just sort of liked the beer and started asking for it. And I was our first delivery guy, so I would load up the van.
So you have worked in the trenches.
I have.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would go, and then I became kind of our first licensee rep, and started that part of the business.
So Matt was the brewer, you were the on the other side,
operations, front of house sales, that kind of thing, and Matt was more production and brand, label design, all that like
marketing stuff,
essential stuff, and the at the beginning the two of us would sort of do everything together, and but over the last 12 years we figured out sort of where our kind of strengths are, and we're still like happily married, best buddies, throughout the whole thing.
So you who came up with the concept of Burdock? Where'd the name come from? Why did you decide to brew the beers that you guys are known for, and the wine beer hybrid stuff, and where did all that come from?
So the name was literally the only name we didn't hate. We sent a note out to a friend who knows a lot about botanicals. Says, hey, send us your favorite botanicals, and that was one of the ones on the list, and that's how we got the name. And then the wine beer started because I was actually through Pearl Morissette. So they came by and we were tasting some of their stuff, and it was really the only Ontario winery that we thought, this is maybe cut this off the podcast. Only Ontario winery that we thought.
No, you know what?
Made good wine.
Yeah, there's some really good Ontario wines, and some very good Ontario wines, but a lot of people do say that Pearl Morissette has got some of the best wines in all of Canada.
Yeah, we were blown away by their wine, and we had been tasting a bunch of wine. We were super into wine at the time, and we were like, why did we start a brewery when we like wine so much? And so we went out there, visited them, built a relationship with them, and through that relationship started experimenting with wine beer. And it wasn't a thing at the time. It was kind of new territory. And
especially in Ontario.
There was very few places kind of globally doing that. And the first ones were, probably by our standards now, pretty gross. But at the time, it was groundbreaking, and people were lining up for it.
Hey, we were famous for a pumpkin ale back in 2008, 2009. So
there you go.
So that's how that program started.
Yeah.
And to this day, that's still part of the big focus of Burdock, doing a bunch of different beers, but still focusing on some of those hybrid styles.
Yeah, we still have a program for it. It's definitely not as big a part of Burdock as it used to be. But it's also, there's people that love it, and we find it really interesting and cool, and so we still do it.
So on your website, you guys have this, and I love reading breweries' vision or mission statements, or just the ethos of why you're in the business of brewing beer. But you guys have, we're a downtown brewery making beer we love for the people we love. Since 2015, we've been focusing on making beers that are food friendly, refreshing, pale, and easy drinking. We mostly make lagers and pale ales, but we also love to make grape ales. Ultimately, we're brewing beers that we want to drink every day and share with the people we love. So when did you come up with that? And does this still ring true in every business decision that you guys make at Burdock?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know when we came up with that, but it sounds right.
And tell the listeners a little bit more about Burdock, though. Like, so you mentioned the location. Just maybe take people, walk them through what they would experience if they've never been there.
Yeah. So our first location so we took that Portuguese Portuguese banquet hall, and we divided it up into two.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a music hall on one side and a restaurant on the other side, and the brewery in the back.
Yeah.
And the idea was that the brewery was going to kind of support the music hall. That was the original concept. And we still do shows almost every day now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's still live music all
very
the
good,
time.
thriving music scene there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It took definitely a hard face plant during COVID.
Oh, for sure. Were you guys doing like live on Facebook or whatever? And
we tried some of that stuff. But like, we had a whole team that was working that side of the business, and they all had to go.
Yeah.
And in 2019, we were actually doing, we did 600 shows in 2019.
Oh. So where'd the music come in? Like, what was the impetus behind beer and music?
Well, it was
that comes from your background?
Exactly, yeah. So my background is more music, and, I've played music since I was 6, mm-hmm. and so it was a big part of my life, and was wanted to get into the music business, was really interested in this opportunity that I was interviewing for at the time before starting Burdock, and then I was like, well, if we do a brewery, can we do a music hall too? Mm-hmm. And then the concept was, well, can the brewery support the music hall? Because music does need support. Mm-hmm. It's not it's something that's very hard to pay for itself, especially if you're catering to up and coming artists, and which is what we wanted to do. Yeah. So
you're kind of like, whole craft beer is built on like sweat and equity or whatever, and the music scene's all very similar parallels to craft beer and aspiring young musicians.
Yeah, and trying to do both at the same time, challenging.
Yeah.
Wouldn't recommend it myself.
But now you're saying there's like 600. You did 600 shows, so like it must be successful. Like people must be.
Yeah, that was 2019. Yeah. Vibes have changed.
Yeah.
And so now we're kind of back up to almost one a day.
Okay.
And but the culture has shifted a bit now, and people aren't going to shows as much as they used to.
I remember going to. I think I was telling you this last time we were together, that I went to Burdock one time with some friends, and the West Coast Pale. Mm-hmm. Is it called the West Coast Pale?
Yeah.
Yeah. The lager, right?
Oh no! So the West Coast Pale Ale was an early beer we used to make.
Okay. Yeah. What was the?
We have one called Wes, which is like
but it's a hoppier pills.
Yeah.
Back in the day, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I drank maybe like 9 or 10 of those one session at Burdock, and
amazing.
It was that was my first experience. And
you're talking about West Coast Pilsner.
West Coast Pilsner. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get. Yeah, and it was such a good beer. So
yeah.
So on that, tell us about the beers. What can people expect when they go to Burdock right now? So we're still talking about the original location. So when people walk in, there's beer still being brewed there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And what can people get on tap there?
Oh, I mean, we rotate like all of our core beers.
So what are your core beers?
Deluxe, Ducks, Classic.
That's 2 different names, by the way, right? Yeah. Deluxe.
Yeah.
And Ducks.
Yeah. Deluxe, Ducks, Classic, and then what's nice about the Bloor Street and also our Kensington spot now is we put all of our smaller batches on tap there.
Yeah.
That's kind of a nice thing to do. Come in and try some, like, we have this beer called Mild that we make every year that, never sells that well, but like it's so good.
Because it's a mild?
It's a mild. But the beer heads, they love it and they come for it.
Like is it an English mild?
Or?
Yeah. So we do a couple of those at Great Lakes, and the same thing. They'll they'll have a window where people just come in and they just sell like crazy, and then they just drop.
Yeah.
But that's such good beers. I love having that malty richness of a 3.2%. It's so nice. But let's talk about a little bit of branding. You said Matt was doing that in the early days. Is that still the case?
Oh yeah, he's still doing it.
So you kind of gone to like a retro beer look these days with like the deluxe and, but you're also doing other things like pizza,
beer for pizza,
and walk me through what you have going on right now with LCBO and the branding, and just a little oversight of, or insight, I should say, not oversight, insight of what the beers are all about at Burdock now.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to make beer that people just want to have and enjoy looking at and enjoy on their tables and in their house and in their fridge, and we want it to look fresh and exciting and different, and retro can feel that way too.
Yeah.
We've been getting teased because Deluxe kind of looks like a bit of a Marlboro cigarette box.
Oh yeah.
Which fair,
Okay.
but that wasn't the intention. That wasn't the intention. Yeah.
It does have a look of an old like 1950s beer, like a Genesee or something like from one of the American brands. But
yeah,
it does stand out. And so at the LCBO right now, you have a couple beers, or more than a couple now at the LCBO.
Yeah, like our main SKUs are Deluxe Ducks again. We've got Double Ducks.
And Deluxe is what?
Deluxe is a house lager.
Okay. And what is Ducks?
Ducks is an IPA.
Okay.
Both super tasty. We have going into next year Double Ducks. Hoping a whole lineup of cool stuff.
What's with the ducks? Is that like our octopus?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt knows an insane amount about birds.
Okay.
Like he's super into bird. He can literally name any duck species.
Okay.
Like look at a duck, he can like from literally 100 meters away.
Everyone needs to have a hobby, right?
Identify. Yeah. And so that's why we started off with the ducks thing.
Okay.
And then we tried out sunbird too as a fun thing, but that'll probably phase out of the LCBO. So get it while you can.
What was that?
It's a pale ale.
Pale ale.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, before we get into the move to, or not even the move, but the addition to Burdock Kensington, what's one thing that you would say about your beers that people might not know? And while you do that, I'm going to have a little sip of my fighting weight here.
One thing people would not know.
Do you think people think of Burdock more of as a wine beer hybrid when you have a lineup of beers like you just said, Hellas IPA, Pale Ale?
It's true, eh? Like I think people probably think of us as more of an experimental wine beer hybrid brewery, and maybe they're not as widely used to us as like a everyday beer brewery. That's actually a good point.
Yeah,
I hadn't thought of that.
I was trying to think of trying to get that out of you, because when I look at it, some of the breweries that started up around when you guys did the Bellwoods of the world, and then there was a lot of these, the cool breweries that were all kind of put into the same box, where very experimental. These guys are doing massive pulpy beers. These guys are doing wine beer hybrids. These ones, and so it's like everyone had their one thing that set them apart from everyone else. Now it's got to the point where you see the Bellwoods. They're at the LCBO. They're kind of all over now. And you guys are starting to make a real big dent at the LCBO. We see the weekly and the monthly numbers, and Burdock has climbed very significantly over the last number of years. And even so, like you have beer in the Rogers Center, which a lot of people would be like, who's Burdock? And no offense, but it'd be like, who's Burdock? You don't have that big mass appeal across Ontario yet because you're still getting there, and you're showing up in more LCBO locations. So you've had a couple big years of growth, so that led to
a new facility.
The next segue into the next facility. So before we talk about that facility, though, how exciting has it been? Same like Phil, the growth. So you're experiencing, you yourself personally as the co-founder and president, I guess, of both companies, this is a lot of change that's happened to you over the last number of years, personally and professionally. How have you dealt with that? What's been the most fun and challenging stuff to take place?
I mean, I work a lot.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So I can't really pretend like I don't.
You must love doing both.
Yeah.
To be doing it. So
Yeah.
But what's been the most challenging personally to do these two roles? To have an exciting at the same time to have this huge growth for two companies.
I just for a minute, I had this. So our head of development over at FIL has an expression.
Oh, sorry. Is this a?
No, you can keep this in.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
our friend over, our head of development over at FIL has an expression that's like, sometimes you make a decision and it's like you're sewing up the parachute after you jump out of the plane.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
That's sort of how it feels.
Right.
You kind of like, you take some big, bets and make some big decisions, and you just kind of go for it, and you just quickly sew the parachute.
So every day every day you're waking up with going, oh shit, I might have a hole in the parachute, but I'm going to jump anyway.
Oh no, I'm already falling.
You're already falling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's fun, and I think again, like, it's all about the people on the team and like having the right people around you, and that's what makes it great.
Yeah.
And like seeing what you can all do together. I mean, it's cheesy, but
it's not cheesy.
It's actually what it is.
You've started two companies that are now kind of right there in the echelon of in the psyche of Ontario beer drinkers. So when you're working nonstop, like you said, but you take that, smell the roses, blow at the candles moment, and it's like, here's looking back, we've created something pretty unique here and pretty special. So, and yeah, beer in the Rogers Center in one of the platinum lounges or whatever, which was a beautiful surprise to me one time when I was down there.
Oh, the TD Lounge. Or no, that's not Rogers Center. That's in the that's the Sky Dome. No.
Well, Sky Dome is Rogers Center.
Yeah. Where's TD? Scotiabank. Yeah.
Okay, well now I have another account to go tackle. No, but no, in in the bowels of the Sky Dome Rogers Center, there is a section, and we're not, because we may or may not have beer at Great Lakes at the Rogers Center. We're not allowed to publicly say where you can get it, but there's a section that if you have a special ticket, you can get Burdock on tap, and it
tastes just as good there.
Yeah, and it's very good. Okay, so Kensington Market, you guys are having this growth, and you need a new production facility. And I'm going to bring up one of Matt's quotes he gave to Blog TO. Yeah. He said, "Our goal is not to become a huge brewery. Otherwise, we would have moved to an industrial park in Etobicoke." Should we, JLB, take this as a dig or what? But all jokes aside, in all seriousness, why'd you choose, and a lot of people in the industry said this, why the hell did you choose to put a production facility in one of the most densely, it's probably not populated, but a dense neighborhood. It's so tight in there. And how do you get trucks in and out, deliveries of malt in and out, and just, why'd you pick Kensington to put a production facility?
Well, okay, I'll start at the first. Why Kensington, and like, why not an industrial park? I mean, we actually don't want to get that big. Yeah. And we really want to.
Okay, sorry, I'm going to cut you off. Everyone says that.
No,
is that true though?
It's true. Like, there's a certain size that Burdock wants to be in terms of our beer production. Like, we can leave Lit Pickle over on the side for a minute, because that totally blew us away. But in terms of our beer production, we actually don't want to get that big. Like, we want to stay premium, relatively contained. We kind of have like a business model we want to maintain. Okay. And, part of that is Matt and I like to walk and bike to work. I shouldn't have started a brewery and a distribution company in Mississauga if that was the case, but I did it. So not biking to work there, but we wanted to be downtown, wanted to have a team that was downtown, and, we're sized the building so that we could do what we felt like we needed to do in that space. In terms of how to access the space, I mean, we have some very talented forklift drivers on the team, and very talented truck drivers that can get in and out of Kensington.
So you saw the space, you knew you wanted to have something there, and then the logistics side, which you're good at, came into effect. So what, do they drop malt on the sidewalk when someone has to come pick that up? Or?
Yeah. So
but you guys knew there was going to be challenges moving into that, and you still
200%.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. We looked at that space and we redesigned it honestly 25 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're brewing there. That's where you're doing your production. So you have a canning line, and
Yep.
So when did that take place? When did you get in that location, and is it up and humming right now?
Yeah, up and humming. So we opened there in 23.
Okay.
And so I guess got into the space in like late
COVID.
21, end of COVID, 22. Yeah.
Mhm.
And everything had to be designed so that it could work.
How the hell do you
Yeah.
move in tanks to? Yeah.
Yeah, through the roof. Yeah, so we cut a big hole in the roof, and now there's a big skylight there, and that's where the tanks came in.
Okay.
And the grain, for example, that's good questions. Like we actually bring the grain in through the alley, and then we have like a chute in the kind of, we built this like loading bay,
Mm-hmm.
and you can dump the grain down from the loading bay into a mill, and then it goes up an auger into the.
Okay.
So we thought through all those little things.
Have you ever ridden that slide?
No.
So customers can go in and buy beer to go.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Do you do tours there?
we do some. Yeah.
Yeah. When you first opened, though, was it just 100% production facility? People can go in,
Yeah, just production and retail. Like we always had the
Okay, you
shop
had
in
some
the front.
retail, okay.
Yeah.
but no tap room, correct? Okay.
No, and the tap room's new. So we just opened a restaurant.
Oh, I know. I'm going to get to that in
you
a
are?
second.
Oh, sorry,
yeah.
sorry.
So that's
sorry.
considered your tap room across the street?
It's across the wall.
Kitty corner.
It's not kitty corner. It's like it's just a dividing wall.
Just a dividing wall.
Yeah.
But you go around.
You have to go around
Okay,
because
yeah.
it's different landlords.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why'd you pick Kensington, though? Was it like if you wanted to stay in like the Bloor Dufferin area? It was just like you knew that you wanted to be like a downtown, not even a downtown, but you wanted to be a core Toronto brewery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want it to be a Toronto brewery. Kensington just felt like the right kind of neighborhood. Like it doesn't have like a Queen Street vibe or an Ossington vibe.
That's kind of a craft beer vibe.
Well, I mean, no digs actually against any craft breweries that might be on Ossington, but we just felt like Kensington just had its own feel,
Free-spirited feel.
Yeah.
And how did the community there? Take it? Because I know it was in the news, but there was a bar, or like a nightclubby bar, trying to get a license, and they couldn't get a license in Kensington recently. But how's the community embrace you?
Us super well.
Yeah.
Like zero complaints
Good.
on our side, and even like the whole honestly, the park crowd has also embraced us too, which is awesome.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. I don't know if that's something that's okay to put on here, but it's
What, like to go over and drink in the park?
Well, I mean, Kensington has like an interesting community of people that sort of drift through, drift out, and at first we were like a little bit unsure of how that dynamic would work, but actually it's been awesome.
Yeah.
And like the people that are there are doing their own thing, and we respect their thing, they respect our thing, and like they even kind of look out for us now, which is like pretty cool.
Yeah, you've tried to, really got into the fabric of Kensington, is what you're saying.
100%.
You're now, even though you're new to the community in that sense, you're part of the fabric. You're part of the community.
Yeah, and like the other local business owners, it's actually a great vibe, honestly. Yeah.
So then you kind of pulled at the string there, but you have Burdock Tavern now.
Yeah.
So I've had the chance to experience lunch there with you. Great spot, and that steak sandwich was phenomenal. But I didn't get anything done at the end of the day because I had 2 beers and that was a massive sandwich. But I loved it all. I loved the design of the place. It opened about 3 months ago. So tell everyone about this place, because it was something else before, and you guys kind of kept a legacy alive.
Yeah. So it was an old like a Portuguese restaurant. It's been there.
What's up with the Portuguese?
I don't know what it is. It's luck, or they have good taste.
Yeah.
And
so any Portuguese out there that have a building for sale, you might reach out to.
You know where to look.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we first started talking to that family like right when we got the space.
So what was it before? What was the name of the place?
Amadeus.
Amadeus, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, Amadeus. And so it's been there for like 40 years, family owned, operated the whole time. You know, mom worked in the kitchen, dad ran the front of the house, that kind of thing. And we, they were in their 70s and looking to retire.
Yeah.
And they, approached us about taking over the space, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And walk me through the place.
The place is kind of a higgledy-piggledy sort of space with two separate sides and separate entrances and kind of like a wonky basement.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got good bones and
It's got a nice patio.
big, nice patio. Yeah. Yeah. Big patio. Kind of a covered awning. You can sit outside and enjoy like the whole Kensington feel, but it's also private enough that you don't feel like you're like in the mix. So it's nice.
And talk about the food.
The food is Portuguese inspired, but also comfortable beer drinking restaurant food.
What's the community, what's the reception been like? Because I know there was a lot of, hey, you guys saved this landmark, if you will. But what's the reception been like?
Reception's been awesome.
Yeah.
We were at first like a little bit worried about if people would feel like we were, gentrifying Kensington or something, but
hipsters coming from Bloor and Dufferin.
Exactly. But honestly, the reception's been awesome. People have been very excited about us being there. We tried our best to make it feel and look the same as it used to.
It does look, from someone who doesn't get to Kensington that much, hardly ever, that when I went, it does seem to look like it's been there for years.
That is the biggest compliment.
Yeah. Even like the signage is nice and new, but it still seems like it's been worn, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. That's sort of like, I would say, how Matt and I like to design things is things should just always feel like they've been that way forever. Like that's sort of how I like to design things.
Well, if you smoke them, if you got them, right? That's what you did for your beer for Deluxe. So how,
tomorrow,
Marvel or whatever. So how does the tavern fit into Burdock's overall identity? So is it a hospitality focus? Is it brand awareness? Is it something different?
It's both. I don't think those things are mutually exclusive. Like we wanted a place. I mean, for 2 years, people were coming into the retail shop asking if they could try stuff. I mean, so we wanted a place where people could come and sit and drink. But it wasn't a way to get it into that space. And
to cut you off, you said you were talking to the family once you got the space in Kensington. Why didn't you put a tap room at the production facility? Just curious.
Well, we didn't want the licensing risk. Because it was potential that. Well, actually, no, I take that back. We probably could have done a taproom license there, but we really wanted to maximize production space in that footprint, and then have a retail store. And we were actually in the middle of looking at getting a taproom license when the Amadeus thing started happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it ties in together, but so it fits into the whole. So you have Bloor and Dufferin, you have the original. You have Kensington Production, and you have Kensington Tavern. You put all together, and what is Burdock all about today?
I mean, Burdock's about being an awesome Toronto brewery, I would say, and just doing that amazing. And, we're trying to be the best we can. And that extends across both hospitality experiences in the two spots, but also the beer we're making and the shows we put on and, the beer that sits on the shelves at all the LCBOs that it's at now.
When you not get rid of it, when you take away the tavern staff, what are your employee numbers up to now?
Why take away the tavern?
Oh no, let's just keep them in. I'm just thinking more of your brewing team.
The brewing team? It's pretty lean team.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes people think we're bigger than we are, we're smaller than we are, but like
everyone thinks that once you get into the LCBO, people think we're a massive brewery, and we're not a massive brewery. We're massive compared to a brewery just starting out.
Yeah.
But on the scale of 0 to 100, we're around the 50 mark, right? So, not in hectoliters, not in hectoliters at all. But
yeah, no, it's a small team. Like we've got in the brewery, 6 people approximately. Yeah.
And you got sales team out on the road?
Yeah, sales team on the road, 4, 5 people on the road. And, everyone at Burdock, we're a small team. Everyone pulls their weight.
Yeah, everyone wears different orange toques. And
Exactly.
So how do you devote your time between the two companies?
These days, unfortunately, most of my time is spent on, no, not unfortunately.
Yeah.
Let me take that back. But
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, like it's
the fun part is not getting as much attention as the hard part.
I would say that's true. Yeah, like I miss some of the fun sides of working at Burdock for sure. But I'm also like very much, again, like in love with the problem of FIL, and I do enjoy that too. So I'm split between both.
The puzzle's almost put together at Burdock, but at FIL, you're 20 pieces short of finishing it.
Yeah, FIL needs a lot more love right now. Yeah.
So I'm gonna take another drink, have another drink, and we're gonna hear a new ad from our pal Octo. And when we come back, we're gonna do some rapid fire questions. Sound cool?
Sounds cool.
Let's do it.
Hey peoples, Octo here. I like a good punch-up from time to time, but after too many donuts lately, I gotta get down to my proper poundage. So my sparring partners at GLB brewed a beer just for me, Fighting Weight Session IPA. Big flavor, but it's 3.6% ABV and only 100 calories. It's the perfect beer between training sessions, then get back to some truculent head busting. Fighting Weight Session IPA from GLB, now at the LCBO and select beer stores across Ontario. Hey, losing a few never tasted so good.
Okay, Jason.
Okay.
That was our pet Octo doing his new fighting weight ad, which I'm pretty stoked about. This beer is now available at the LCBO right across the province, and you guys will have the distinct pleasure of delivering it there for us. So thank you for that.
Looking forward to it.
We're going to get into some rapid fire questions now. Pre-warning, I always mess these up, but let's try to go through these as quick as we can. Okay. You haven't seen these, so if you need a second, just take a drink while you think. What beer have you been enjoying recently that's not a Burdock or not a Great Lakes?
Honestly, this one, not a Great Lakes. I mean, mostly drink Burdock beer, to be honest. But recently, Sonnet Hill Lager is pretty good.
There you go.
Yeah.
I was at Godspeed a couple weeks ago and had 4 mugs of their Hellas right now. It's tasting so good. Name one brewery that's consistently impressed you.
Bellwoods.
Bellwoods?
Yeah.
Name your celebrity doppelganger.
Wow. I never thought of that. I honestly don't know.
Okay. We'll come back to that maybe.
Yeah, celebrity stuff is not my forte. Yeah.
Name a person or brewery in the industry that has or continues to inspire you.
Ooh, I mean, lately getting to know the 2 Peters. I mean, this is not I'm not trying to blow GLB smoke here, but getting to know the 2 Peters of Flying Monkeys and Great Lakes has been
the 2 guys.
Inspiring,
they've been through the trenches. They've been through the ebb and flow, and this is now our 3rd time changing distribution partners, and it's the onboarding has gone well. The transition is starting, and but it's always learning curves for both companies for sure. Best time and place for a beer.
Maybe like sunset on a rock somewhere.
That's the first time I've heard that. Sunset on a rock. What constitutes a successful delivery?
I mean, a successful delivery, probably one with no issues. A great delivery, one where just people feel good about it. Yeah. They're like, wow, that was great.
Nice.
Yeah.
They smiled when they dropped off my correct order.
Everyone just feels good about how it all happens. Yeah.
If you could drink one beer for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I mean, right now, Burdock Deluxe, probably.
Yeah. Best place to grab a beer in Toronto that's not Burdock?
Ooh.
It's a tough one. He's either at the FIL office or at Burdock or at Burdock or at FIL.
Not exactly out having beers all the time these days, but maybe I have all the drinking. I'll see if I get inspired.
What is one secret about FIL Delivery or Burdock that you've never shared with anyone?
Wow. I mean, Burdock has a great secret story.
Perfect.
But it's not a rapid fire answer.
Okay, let's hear it.
Wow. Okay. So this is one that like very few people have ever heard.
Yeah. And now listen, we have millions upon millions of listeners to this podcast. So the 10 people that will listen to this, you're going to get some secrets here.
Well, so do you guys remember that like incident in 2014 when someone thought that there was like people building a tunnel to blow up the Paralympic Games?
Yep.
Okay. So the guy who built that tunnel was working on our job site when he was one of the guys, like we had a small job site, and he was one of the guys who was working, setting up the brewery, like doing some of the rough construction work that we were doing. His name was Elton. And, one day, like him and his boss, it was just the two of them that worked together, and disappeared. And, these two were quite challenging to work with in general. Yeah. And we were very unsophisticated at the time, and disappears, like don't know where he's gone. And he shows up one day and he's like, Jason, I need you to come to the basement with me. And I was like, Bob, like, I haven't seen you in a week. Like, what is going on? Like, what's the excuse now? And so we take him out, go down to the basement where like no one else can hear. And he says, you're not going to believe this, but I was watching the CBC and I saw my tools. It's like, the tunnel. I was like, yeah, Bob, I know the tunnel. It's like, okay. He's like, I was watching the CBC and I saw my tools, and I was like, his wife's name was Zelda. Like, Zelda, like, there's my tools. And he figured out, seeing his tools, he'd loaned them to Elton. Yeah. And Elton borrowed them to start digging this tunnel. And so Bob actually called. He called the city attorney, called 311, and he asked to talk to the mayor. This is the story he told me. He takes me down to the basement to tell me the story. So he calls the mayor. The first they're like, you can't just call and talk to the mayor. And he was like, I have information about the tunnel. Yeah. And within like no time, he was talking to the mayor and the chief of police. Yeah. And so he basically made them. He's like, I know who dug the tunnel, but you need to promise that he's not a terrorist. Yeah. I need you to promise that he's not going to get in trouble. Yeah. And obviously they were like, we can't promise anything. So, but he did actually successfully negotiate this handover of Elton to the.
And he was just digging a hole, right, or a tunnel just to hang out.
It was a man cave. It was a man cave. Literally, he was digging a man cave, and he just thought it'd be fun, and like hadn't thought twice about like the direction of the man cave, that it was pointing directly at the Paralympic Games.
So, did he come back to Burdock ever after this?
Bob did a little bit and helped finish the job, and Elton, you didn't see again. Yeah.
So I'll accept that as an answer for rapid fire. That was a pretty good one. That's a good story to tell.
Yeah, honestly, it was a mind blowing scenario. Yeah.
I would love to have gone down into that tunnel just to see what it was like.
I saw photos.
Yeah, it looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
Probably pretty wet down there though. If you could have a beer with just one person in the whole world, dead or alive, famous or not, who would you choose?
Prince.
I was gonna say I'd choose the tunnel.
He doesn't drink, so.
Oh, you could drink one for him.
Or didn't drink, yeah.
I would choose the kid who just dug that tunnel. That would be a good conversation. And last one, best hangover cure.
Oh, pickle juice. Pickle water.
Do you actually do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to have to give that a try. I've heard that too. So great stuff, Jason. That was fascinating. And I really learned a lot about you and your respective companies. The team at GLB really looks forward to working more closely with you and your team to ensure customers across Ontario continue to receive awesome service and timely service. And so thanks a lot for sharing the story today. We wanted to do this for a while now, so this was really great.
Yeah, well,
thanks so much.
Appreciate you having me.
And that's it. That's all, folks. Episode 45 with Jason Stein, the founder and president of FIL Delivery and co-founder of Burdock Brewery, or as I might start calling him, the man behind the curtain, has moved from the mash tun to the fermenters. If you enjoyed our conversation or any other episodes, please leave a review or a comment wherever you get your podcasts. Today's episode was fueled by cans of Fighting Weight Session IPA. You can now find cans of the super delicious low-cal, low ABV beer all across Ontario at your local LCBO stores and select beer stores, delivered by FIL Delivery Inc. Cans are also available at both GLB retail locations, and you can find it online at greatlakesbeershop.ca for free local home delivery. You can visit the brewery at 30 Queen Elizabeth Boulevard in Etobicoke, or grab some delicious eats and fresh pours at our brew pub at 11 Lower Jarvis Street. If you have any content that you'd love to hear us discuss on the show, guest ideas, or just want to tell us what you're drinking, drop us a line at podcast@greatlakesbeer.com. Until next time, please remember to keep tipping your glass of fresh GLB in the right direction. Supporting local never tasted so good.
To learn more about what's happening at Great Lakes Brewery, visit greatlakesbeer.com and subscribe to our weekly newsletter or follow Great Lakes Beer on your favorite social media platforms.